Some people don't break your heart loudly. They do it silently, by slowly disappearing. And the pain that remains is the kind only you can feel. You try to stay strong. You bury yourself in work. You tell yourself you're over it. But when the world gets quiet, your mind drifts back to them, replaying moments, rewriting memories, and holding on to a version of them that may never have truly existed. That's the trap, the emotional attachment that feels impossible to cut, even when it's hurting you. Most people believe letting go is about waiting until it stops hurting. But the Stoics knew the truth. Pain ends when resistance ends. You cannot detach while feeding yourself the same hopes, the same fantasies, the same memories that keep you chained. You cannot move forward while begging the past to become your future again. Today, you'll learn 5 Stoic rules to reclaim your emotional freedom with clarity, dignity, and self-respect. If you're ready, comment. I choose emotional freedom. Rule 1. Accept what you cannot control. The truth is harsh. You're not hurting because you lost them. You're hurting because you can't accept that they're already gone. Most emotional suffering begins not at the moment someone leaves, but at the moment we refuse to accept that they've left. You replay conversations, cling to last messages, analyze every shift in their tone. Not because you don't know the truth, but because you are resisting it, and resistance is the birthplace of emotional pain. Stoicism teaches that suffering doesn't come from the event. It comes from our refusal to see it as it is. You can't detach from someone as long as you're still trying to rewrite what happened. Detachment fails when you negotiate with reality. You tell yourself maybe they'll change, maybe they'll realize your value, maybe things will return to how they used to be. Every maybe is a chain. Every maybe keeps you stuck in a life that no longer exists. The Stoics call this emotional slavery, tying your peace to an outcome you cannot control. Reality always whispers the truth before it shouts it. Most people don't listen until it hurts. If someone has withdrawn, grown distant, or stopped choosing you, there were signals long before the final moment. The subtle coldness, the long pauses, the lack of effort. But human beings cling to potential, not patterns. We hold on to who someone could be instead of who they consistently show us they are. And the gap between reality and fantasy becomes emotional agony. Nothing hurts more than loving someone's potential while ignoring their patterns. We create emotional prisons out of hope. We say, they weren't always like this, or they used to care, or we were so good together. But these are memories, not the present. Detachment begins when you stop comforting yourself with the past and start respecting yourself in the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Those words weren't meant to inspire. They were meant to confront. You cannot heal while chasing closure from someone who benefits from your confusion. Some people don't give you clarity because they know ambiguity keeps you attached. The more uncertain you feel, the more you reach out. The more you reach out, the more power they hold. Acceptance breaks this cycle. It returns your power to where it always belonged, within you. When you stop seeking answers from them, you stop giving them control over your emotional state. Clarity hurts, but confusion destroys. Choose your pain wisely. Acceptance is not emotional giving up. It is emotional waking up. It is the moment you say, I don't need their approval to move on. I don't need their explanation to let go. I don't need their closure to close this chapter. This is not coldness. This is maturity. This is the strength of someone who chooses peace over fantasy. Detachment begins the moment you stop arguing with what is. Think of how much energy you spend fighting the truth. Rereading messages, stalking their social media, revisiting memories, imagining alternate endings. Imagine if that energy returned to you. Imagine if your mind rested. Imagine if your heart finally stopped negotiating with the past. Acceptance is not an emotion, it's a decision. It says, what happened, happened. What didn't happen, won't. And from that point forward, healing begins. You are not losing them. You are losing the illusion that they were meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to walk with you to the next chapter of your life. Some were meant to teach you boundaries. Some were meant to teach you self-worth. Some were meant to teach you what you no longer tolerate. And some were meant to leave so that you can return to yourself more whole, more aware, more awake. Freedom begins when attachment ends, and attachment ends when acceptance begins. So here is your first Stoic practice. Sit down, take a breath, and write one sentence of pure truth. No fantasy, no hope, no excuses. Just the truth. Let it hurt, let it cleanse, let it free you. Because rule 1 is simple. Accept what you cannot control and reclaim what you can. Rule 2. Reduce emotional access. Control the inputs. You cannot detach from someone if you're still feeding your heart with the very things you're trying to escape. Detachment doesn't happen when you try to forget. It happens when you stop giving your mind the material it uses to stay attached. Every time you rewatch their stories, check their status, reread your old messages, or replay conversations in your head, you're not healing, you're reopening the wound. Stoic philosophy teaches one brutal truth. What you allow into your mind shapes your emotional world. Healing fails when the doors to your mind are still wide open. Think of your mind like a house. Every photo, text, memory, and update from them is a visitor walking straight through your front door. How can you heal when the person you're trying to detach from still walks in anytime they want? How can the wound close when you keep scratching it open? This isn't weakness, it's human psychology. Attachment is reinforced by repetition, and the only way to break repetition is to reduce access. You don't miss them, you miss the version of them you keep feeding your mind. Your memory isn't passive, it's curated. You choose what parts to revisit, and those parts choose how much pain you feel. When you replay only the good moments, you keep watering the roots of a dead tree. When you check their social media, you don't get clarity. You get emotional overdose. The Stoics would tell you, stop ingesting what poisons your peace. If it triggers you, it doesn't deserve access to you. Modern life makes detachment harder because everything is accessible instantly. One tap, one scroll, one click, and suddenly your mind spirals again. But emotional access is a choice. Unfollow. Mute. Stop revisiting old photos. Delete the screenshots. Get rid of the reminders you secretly use to stay connected. This is not pettiness. This is emotional survival. Reducing access is not rejection, it is self-respect. People often fear taking these steps because they think it looks dramatic or childish. But protecting your emotional well-being isn't immaturity, it's discipline. Leaving triggers in place is like trying to quit alcohol while keeping a bottle on your desk. You're not weak for being affected. You are human, and humans heal when they limit exposure to what hurts them. The brain detaches when the inputs decline, not before. Your mind adapts to patterns. When the stream of emotional triggers slows down, something remarkable happens. Your brain starts rebalancing. The emotional intensity fades. Reality becomes clearer. The person loses their symbolic power. What felt like an emotional addiction finally begins to feel like just another memory, not a force controlling your days. Some people don't lose their power over you. You stop giving it to them, and that begins with inputs. Because every just checking moment is a step backward. Every just one more look is a relapse. Every I just want to see how they're doing is really your attachment in disguise. Stop giving your pain places to hide. Stop giving your emotions fuel to burn. Your heart can't move on if your habits keep dragging it back. This is where Stoic discipline becomes practical. Ruthlessly control what enters your mind. Practice a 7-day detox. No checking their profiles. No revisiting old texts. No refreshing. No excuses. Just 7 days of mental fasting. You'll feel the withdrawal at first. That's normal. Pain is often the echo of an old habit dying. On the other side of that discomfort is freedom. Reducing access isn't about erasing someone. It's about reclaiming your mental space. It's about breathing without emotional noise. It's about remembering who you were before your mind was crowded with their presence. And most importantly, it's about proving to yourself that your peace matters more than your impulses. The person you're trying to detach from doesn't need less access to you. Your mind needs less access to them. So here is your Stoic practice for Rule 2. List every input that keeps you emotionally tied to them, then remove, mute, delete, or limit each one. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. Now. Because real detachment isn't about forgetting. It's about no longer giving your pain new ways to reach you. Rule 3. Replace the fantasy with reality. You're not attached to the person. You're attached to the story you created about them. Every deep emotional attachment has 2 layers. The actual person and the fantasy version of them your mind built over time. The fantasy is perfect, loving, stable, consistent, understanding. The real person may be inconsistent, distracted, distant, or emotionally unavailable. But the human heart is stubborn. It falls in love with potential, not patterns. And potential is the most dangerous illusion of all. The story you're holding on to is the same story that's holding you back. When you replay memories, you edit them. You highlight the sweetness, the laughter, the spark. And you dim the loneliness, the confusion, the red flags, the disappointments. In your mind, they become a cinematic version of themselves. And of course, that version is impossible to detach from. It's not real, so it never hurts you. The real version did. You're grieving the person they were in your imagination, not the person they were in your life. Fantasy is comforting because it gives you a reason to keep hoping. They'll come back. They'll change. They were just scared. But fantasy is also anesthesia. It numbs you while prolonging the wound. Stoicism teaches that clarity comes when we replace imagination with observation. Look at what they actually did, not what you wish they had done. Look at who they consistently were, not who they were once during their best moments. One good memory doesn't erase months of confusion. One spark doesn't undo a pattern. The most painful part of detachment is accepting that the relationship wasn't as mutual, balanced, or special as you believed. Maybe they liked the attention, but not the commitment. Maybe they enjoyed the connection, but never intended to deepen it. Maybe they loved the idea of you, not the responsibility of choosing you. These truths hurt, but illusions hurt longer. Denial keeps you stuck. Reality sets you free, but reality demands courage. When you stop romanticizing the past, everything changes. You start remembering the nights you felt alone, the times they pulled away without reason, the moments they made you feel uncertain, anxious, or invisible. You begin to see the imbalance, how much more you gave than they ever did. Suddenly, the fantasy cracks. That's the moment healing begins. If it was meant for you, you wouldn't be here trying to convince yourself to hold on. Humans cling to fantasies because fantasies offer control. You can rewrite them, adjust them, sweeten them. Reality cannot be rewritten, and that's why reality feels harsh. But Stoicism tells us, better a painful truth than a beautiful lie. Because truth gives you back your power. Lies keep you emotionally trapped. You cannot detach from what you refuse to see clearly. So stop rewriting the story. Stop glorifying their good days. Stop excusing their bad days. Stop telling yourself it wasn't that bad. Yes, it was. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be here searching for ways to let go. Your heart knows the truth. Your memories know the truth. Your body knows the truth. It remembers the anxiety, the waiting, the imbalance. They weren't your soulmate. They were your lesson, and lessons are not meant to be worshipped. They're meant to be learned. So what did this one teach you? Maybe it taught you to stop over-investing in people who don't communicate. Maybe it taught you to pay attention to actions, not words. Maybe it taught you that you deserve someone who chooses you with certainty, not convenience. Whatever the lesson is, honor it. Don't cling to the illusion that caused it. The relationship wasn't a fairy tale. It was a mirror showing you where you need to grow. So here is your Stoic practice for Rule 3. Write 2 lists. List 1. The story I told myself about them. List 2. What actually happened? Compare them. See the contrast. Feel the truth. Let the illusion collapse. Because once the fantasy dies, your attachment dies with it. And when the illusion falls away, you stop longing for what was never really yours. That's not loss. That's liberation. Rule 4. Return the energy back to yourself. You didn't just lose someone. You lost the version of yourself who gave them so much of your energy. That's why detaching hurts so deeply. It's not only about the person leaving, it's about the emotional investment you poured into them. The hours of thinking, hoping, analyzing, waiting. The constant self-adjusting. The way you made them the center of your emotional world without even noticing. When someone leaves your life, the void isn't shaped like them. It's shaped like the energy you lost while trying to love them. Attachment isn't about the person. It's about the energy imbalance you've been living in. When you care more, you sacrifice more. When you hope more, you hurt more. When you prioritize them over yourself, you slowly weaken your inner foundation. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from focusing your energy inward, not outward. And detachment becomes possible only when you reclaim the attention you once gave away. That's why returning energy to yourself isn't selfish. It's essential. You won't heal by trying to move on from them. You'll heal by moving back into yourself. Think about how much mental space they occupied. How many times a day you checked your phone hoping for a message? How many nights you lay awake replaying their words? How many decisions you made based not on what you needed, but on what might keep them close? This constant emotional output drains you. It exhausts you. It makes you forget who you were before the attachment. They weren't your source of peace. They were your distraction from your own emptiness. And that's why returning energy to yourself feels uncomfortable at first. When the emotional noise stops, you're forced to face the silence inside you. The silence where your unmet needs live. The silence where your unhealed wounds speak. The silence where your ignored dreams wait. Many people avoid detaching because returning energy to themselves means confronting the parts of their life they've been escaping through attachment. Sometimes you cling to someone not because you love them, but because you abandoned yourself. When you pour all your attention into someone else, you drain the attention meant for your own growth. Your routines slip, your goals fade, your boundaries soften, your identity blurs. You become a shadow of the person you were before you overinvested. And the worst part, you don't notice it happening until the relationship breaks and you suddenly realize how far from yourself you've drifted. The real heartbreak isn't losing them. It's realizing how much of yourself you lost in the process. This is where Stoic discipline becomes your rescue. Instead of chasing closure or longing for connection, you begin reclaiming everything you outsourced. Your focus, your time, your mental clarity, your emotional energy. You rebuild the foundation inside yourself piece by piece. And slowly, the attachment weakens because there is less empty space for it to cling to. When you fill your life with yourself again, they stop being a craving and become a memory. Returning energy to yourself is not a single action, it's a daily practice. It begins with simple things: waking up on time, moving your body, nourishing yourself, rebuilding your routines, re-establishing your boundaries. Every small act of self-respect is a withdrawal of emotional investment from the past. Every small act of discipline is a step away from longing and a step toward grounding. Your healing accelerates when your life stops orbiting around someone who is no longer here. That means redirecting emotional attention from "why did they leave?" to "what do I need right now?" From "what are they doing?" to "what can I build today?" From "will they come back?" to "how do I return to myself?" This shift is where emotional power is reborn, because your energy is the most valuable currency you have, and you spent too much of it on someone who didn't invest back. Peace returns when your energy returns, and your energy returns when you stop pouring it into the places that no longer hold you. So here is your Stoic practice for Rule 4. Create a new routine built entirely around you. A routine where you feed your body, challenge your mind, build your skills, nourish your spirit, and protect your peace. Every day, do one thing that strengthens the version of you that existed before the attachment, and one thing that builds the version you want to become after it. Your life expands the moment your energy stops chasing what is gone and starts building what is next. Because the truth is simple: you don't get stronger by holding on. You get stronger by returning to yourself. Rule 5. Build a new identity without them. The final stage of detachment is not forgetting them. It's remembering who you are without them. Most people think emotional detachment is about letting someone fade from memory. But true detachment is deeper than that. It's about rebuilding the identity that slowly dissolved while you were trying to keep them close. When you attach yourself too deeply to someone, your sense of self begins to wrap around them, their approval, their attention, their presence. When they leave, the structure collapses, and you're left standing inside the ruins of a self you barely recognize. The pain isn't just losing the relationship, it's losing the version of you who existed before it. Identity erosion happens quietly. It starts with adjusting your needs to accommodate theirs, then bending your boundaries to keep the peace, then shrinking parts of yourself because you fear those parts might push them away. You compromise, minimize, and slowly reorganize your life around their patterns. Over time, your identity becomes entangled with their behavior. You feel stable when they show up, and lost when they don't. You didn't lose the one. You lost the self you became while trying to be enough for them. Stoicism teaches that identity rooted in external things, people, outcomes, validation, is fragile. It cracks the moment those things shift. A Stoic identity, however, is built from the inside. Character, virtue, discipline, choices, actions. That's why rebuilding yourself without them is not just emotional recovery. It's returning to a version of yourself that is inner-led, not outer-defined. Detachment becomes effortless when your identity no longer depends on someone else's presence or absence. Ask yourself honestly, who were you before them? What did you love? What did you want? What habits made you feel alive? What values guided you? Many of those things were abandoned, not because you wanted to, but because emotional attachment whispers, "Make space for them," until you unconsciously evacuate pieces of your own life. Attachment makes you forget yourself. Detachment is how you meet yourself again. The moment you begin rebuilding your identity, the emotional hold they have on you weakens. Because your heart no longer looks to them for direction. Your mind no longer waits for them to validate your choices. Your future no longer revolves around their decisions. This is where real freedom begins. Not when you stop loving them, but when you stop depending on them to feel whole. You can't detach from someone while using them as the reference point for who you are. Your new identity must be rooted in your own values and vision, not their preferences, not their inconsistencies, not their approval. You build yourself on a foundation too solid to be shaken by someone else's choices. And the more you build, the more you realize something profound. The version of you that was attached wasn't the strongest version. It was the version that abandoned itself to feel loved. You weren't emotionally weak. You were emotionally underdeveloped. And now you're growing. So start crafting the identity you want to carry forward. Design it intentionally. Pick the traits, habits, routines, and values that reflect the person you want to become. Not the person who was shaped by heartbreak. Become someone who wakes up with purpose, not with longing. Someone who creates joy, not chases it. Someone who leads themselves, not waits to be chosen. The fastest way to detach from someone is to build a life so fulfilling they no longer fit into the center of it. That means shifting from "who am I without them" to "who do I choose to be now?" It means forming new habits, physical strength, mental discipline, emotional clarity. It means creating new goals, personal, financial, creative, spiritual. It means forming new connections, friends who support your growth, not drain it. Your identity becomes the anchor that stops your heart from drifting back to the past. When you rise into a stronger identity, the attachment no longer has anything to hook itself onto. So here is your Stoic practice for Rule 5. Write a new identity statement. Define your values. Rewrite your routines. Choose behaviors that align with the person you want to become. Every day, take one action your past self avoided out of fear, and one action your future self will thank you for. You don't detach by erasing the past. You detach by outgrowing it. And the moment you become someone stronger, clearer, fuller, and more grounded than the version of you who once needed them, the attachment dissolves on its own. Because the truth is this: you weren't meant to stay who you were. You were meant to become who you're becoming. If there's one truth this video has shown you, it's this: detachment is not about cutting someone off. It's about returning to yourself. Today, you learned the 5 Stoic rules that make emotional freedom possible. Accept what you cannot control. Reduce emotional access. Replace fantasy with reality. Return your energy back to yourself and rebuild an identity that no longer depends on anyone else to feel whole. These aren't ideas to admire. They are practices to live. Start small. Apply one rule today, another tomorrow. Write your truths. Protect your mind. Rebuild your routines. Every step you take is a step back into your own strength. You don't detach in one day. You detach by choosing yourself a little more each day. Thank you for spending this time investing in your inner peace. Your presence here is proof that you're choosing growth over pain, clarity over confusion, and dignity over attachment. If this video supported your healing, let me know in the comments and share it with someone who needs it. I appreciate you. Take care of your mind, protect your peace, and I'll see you in the next video.